Yeah. The thing's up. We're going live.
Things with the buttons.
The thing's up. We're going live.
Who's got the button? Oh.
Rise and shine, my sinners. When Father Evil starts his day, he gets a little deadly. Deadly Grounds coffee has the richest, smoothest flavor you'll find anywhere. It's sinfully delicious. Once you go deadly, you never go back. Order yours at getdeadly.com. Coffee's so good, it's scary.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Steve Van Samson,
Curtis M. Lawson,
Paul Christian Glenn, Joshua Rex, Raz, Rob Smith,
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Clutch Personalities. Happy Sunday. Thank Cthulhu, it's Sunday. We are here with some awesome guests tonight. We have Benjamin Bartlett and Jeff Homan. Is it Homan? Never tried that before. And these are the guys. Phrasing. That's something I've got to work on. If you can't tell, there are still Toking with the Dead guys. We're going to go over with them because they have not only put out phrasing again. They have given us Toking with the Dead, and they have a book, they have comics, and they also have a show going on. So we are going to learn, because they've made it an educational experience as well as an incredibly fun experience, how to go through and which volume might appeal most to you, but you should really get them all because I've read all of it and I've seen all of it and it's all really fun. But we're going to discuss all that. And how's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to the show, guys.
We're doing good. You know, 9
wow.
o'clock on a Sunday night.
Yeah. Sorry, I morphed into my screen. You couldn't see my thumbs. Yeah, you're right, Jeff. It is.
I had to stay up late for this one.
Yeah. I'm surprised the nursing home let us stay up. You know, usually it's lights out by 9.
But no, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Well,
thanks for being here in general, man. We appreciate it.
So starting off, what was the inspiration that took you to? I mean, the book is just, your whole story is hysterical. I fucking love it. It's just like, what are you gonna do? We're gonna get high. Got some fucking zombies. We're gonna get high.
So, I guess it was 30 at that time, 35, 34 years of friendship that brought us to it. We were on vacation, sitting on a beach, and I'm not a drinker, but I quit drinking years and years ago. But anyway, so I was having a drink because I couldn't find weed, and then we found some weed, and Jeff and I kind of revisited a t-shirt business that we had in 87, 88.
Yeah, late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Trying to break the stigma of cannabis.
Pick up where I left off. Keep going. Come on. You got this.
Yeah. Way back then, we designed a bunch of shirts, and that's when the internet really wasn't there at the time. You know what I mean? I think you might have had AOL dial-up.
Yeah.
There was just nothing there. So, we put some ads in like High Times magazine and got some shirts printed, put them into some local stores, and we sold some shirts, but we were both young. I was freshly married, and younger.
Younger.
But then life happened, You know what I mean? So that just all got kind of put aside. And like Ben said, we revisited it.
Because we
sitting
were
on a
drunk,
beach.
drunk and high, sitting on a beach.
Drunk and high, sitting on a beach. And I don't even know how it came about combining weed and zombies, but it just seemed like the right thing to do.
Yeah, because I think we were talking about how that fucking zombie show that was on TV for like 10 seasons that was stealing like shit from everybody else,
It went down the shitter.
Yeah. Well, we know it went down the shitter, but I think we were talking about that and how you and I have always been huge horror fans, and how Romero was just amazing when it came to zombies. It was like Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead. I mean, those were fucking amazing things. And I think I was looking at something and I was like, oh shit, dude, they just decriminalized cannabis. This is fucking great. And it kind of, the way Jeff and I work together is like, I'll say something and then he'll throw something in there and we bounce back and forth very, very well. So we did that for like, I don't know, 45 minutes sitting on the beach while our wives literally just fucking laughed at us because they thought we were high and drunk, but we were. Anyway, and we just came up with the whole concept of, wouldn't it be really cool to combine the two, because nobody has ever done it, not to the extent of what we were trying to do. So
well, at the beginning we really had no idea what the fuck we were trying to do.
Oh, right. We got back to the States after our, I don't know, 7 or 10 day fucking Caribbean fucking whatever we were doing there, and we were sitting at Jeff's house, and I'm like, just for the fuck of it, I'm gonna punch in the name, take an Instagram thing. Did an Instagram thing, and I set my phone down, and within a half an hour,
it blew up.
It fucking exploded. Like, it just was like boom on Instagram, and I'm like, I think we're onto something here. And we kind of just snowballed some ideas, did some research, went to comic book conventions, talked to amazing artists, because neither one of us are artists. We're both from writing backgrounds. Mostly poetry. Jeff's, I think, got 4 Golden Poet Awards. Am I correct on that?
Bravo.
Something like that.
And I have 3. So the writing was kind of easy for us.
Well, it's easy when it's dumb as fuck anyway.
Well, right. So we kind of, like I said, we just kind of snowballed back and forth, talked to a bunch of artists, explained to them what we were doing, and literally, the basic concept was dumb as fuck, but every single one of them looked at us and said, you guys are fucking geniuses, because nobody's done this, and if I say a lot, it's because it's past my bedtime, folks. In case you're just tuning in, the nursing home allowed us to stay up. I haven't had my meds. I'm a little shaky. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm super stoned, so I'm gonna a lot too. You're totally fine, man.
They're doing us a big favor because our shows are on a lot later than theirs are. So
yeah.
we appreciate that.
Well, that's because we're old as fuck and we go to bed early.
So that's okay.
So anyway, Jeff owns this really, really nice place in the middle of the woods on a lake up in Maine towards the Canadian border. And that same summer, we were sitting up there, and I'm an early riser. So 5 o'clock, I get up. There's no electricity. Everything's propane. There's an outhouse. I fire up the stove and put the percolators on for coffee, and I go out and I started writing. He came out and looked over my shoulder, and he's like, okay, so this is what we're doing. I'm like, yeah, I think this is what we should do. Boom, he throws an idea. I'm like, oh, that's fucking brilliant. Scrap that page, fucking write something else, and it kind of went like that for a few months, I would say. Wouldn't you? Are you falling asleep on me?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Yeah, no, it went like that for a few months, and then we really didn't know what we were going to do with it. We just started writing, and in the process, we were doing T-shirt designs and stuff like that, and did the smart thing and applied and filed for our trademark, that kind of stuff, So I took the first couple of chapters, which, by the way, you gotta understand that. When Ben types something on the computer and sends it to me for editing, what I got was pages of one sentence, all in capital letters. That's what I had to edit. You know,
I know
trying to
that
break
feeling.
that apart, and you know, so basically that's how it goes. You know, Ben does most of the writing. I throw my 2 cents in as I see it and stuff. When I do the editing, I'll add stuff to it or change stuff or pull stuff out. I mean, that's my job. But anyway, so we took the first couple of chapters and I showed it to my brother. And he looked at it, read it, looked at me and said,
Judging.
"This is dumb as fuck." He goes, "But it'd
No.
make a great comic."
No, actually, I think what he said first was, "You guys are fucked in the head."
Yeah, he goes, yeah.
That's what he
Yeah,
said.
yeah. But
This
then
is
he
dumb
said it
as
would
fuck.
make a great comic book.
Right.
We had never even considered a comic book up until that point. You know what I mean? I'm a woodworker. I don't know anything about comics. You know,
You're
and
the
I,
fifth woodworker that I know.
Well,
you know,
that makes 6 because I build houses. So
Oh, well, damn. I totally squirreling off here. I actually have
Rabbit.
wood.com or something like that. Well, no, I'm a squirrel.
We have a squirrel up at
I know.
yeah.
Usually it's squirrel, but I just said rabbit for the fuck of it.
Yeah, I have a website because I'm working on a story that involves woodworking, and I know that if I fuck up that one page that's going to be about woodwork that involves woodworking, that like every carpenter and woodworker in the world is going to read it and be like, "You got that fucking wrong." So I have it. It's not
Yeah.
wood.com, but it's something like that, like
Yeah.
saved, and I've studied a lot. So
I'm actually a furniture builder
Now.
now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I help build scenes and design props for haunted attractions. That's
Okay.
one of
Okay. Yeah.
My dad was a huge woodworker though, so I know a lot about it. I just don't have all the tools anymore, and
Yeah.
Jeff, piles of wood.
Jeff and I learned real fast. There's a real big difference between what we do for a living and building sets, because we actually to jump ahead, but we'll jump back. When COVID hit, we started filming the live TV series to correspond with the comic books and the novel. So we were traveling down to New York every 2 weeks to Diamond Production Studios to film the live TV series. But not only were we acting, we were building the sets, we were setting the lights, we were doing everything other than just acting. And when we started building sets, these people looked at us and like, "What the fuck are you doing?" It's like, "No, man, this is how we build houses." Dude, no, this is for camera. Like the flimsy fucking here. No, like this. It doesn't have to work. And we're like,
yeah, it just has to be there.
"Oh, well, fuck, that's a lot easier."
Now, for haunts, it's similar to cinema, but there's a lot more home building involved in haunts because you're building structures that actors have to climb onto, jump off of, that customers have to actually walk through, and so you have some things on the wall, like some walls are just fake walls for that are just hanging there, but a good chunk of it is still basic house building carpentry that we have to do, and our owner also builds and rehabs like homes for a living, so he's our lead on all that stuff too.
Right. So where the fuck are we?
Grabbing it back into the comics that you hadn't thought about doing. That's what Ratatosker's here for.
Mhm.
He squirrels off and then he brings back around.
Well, we have one of those too. It's called Leo.
Right.
I get a Leo. Yeah. Once a week I get a Leo.
Yeah, so like Jeff said, his brother was like, "This would be a great comic." So I started throwing stuff out on the internet looking for artists, and we found a kick-ass artist out in California named Eric Yep that agreed to work with us on the first comic, and he did an amazing job. Unfortunately, he tried to renegotiate his contract after
the fact. Yeah.
After said comic was finished, and that shit just don't fly with us.
Yeah.
We're fair, but at the same time, you're not going to try to stick it in my ass like AMC did. Oh, did I say that out loud? Oh, my bad.
It's okay. You're allowed.
Fine, man.
I have a little overlay that there's the first comic, and I grabbed these because, guys, those of you who are watching who haven't read it, they do put some nice educational stuff in the comics and in the book.
Right.
Yeah. It's just
So-
fun, light stuff, you know.
Yeah. I can't
people
pronounce that word, but
decarboxylation.
yes.
Yes, decarb for short.
Yeah, to decarb. You know,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
thought it was really important to educate through adult humor. You know, the positive effects of medical cannabis, and that's kind of like the sales pitch when we're at events. You know, it's kind of like, you know, what happens if you give zombies cannabis? People are like, I don't know. Like, well, they bounce off walls. They want a Twinkie. They want a cupcake. But subconsciously, when they come down, they realized it alleviated the pain they were having for flesh. So now they want more cannabis.
That's a fucking problem.
Which, yeah, that's a huge problem when the end of the world is here and, you know, supplies are limited.
Yeah.
So.
Right. So the basis of the storyline is we're trying to not just survive the apocalypse. And don't get me wrong, killing zombies is a lot of fun anyway.
Oh yeah.
You know, but we're trying to use the cannabis and figure out how we can try to cure zombieism.
Right.
I like it.
Yeah, as you go through the storyline, you know, it's a lot of slapstick humor, a lot of failed attempts of escaping. You know, there's always something that fucking happens, something stupid, but it makes you laugh, you know.
Oh yeah.
But the educational purposes are always in there.
Yeah.
And yeah.
You know, and they're light and a few in between, yeah, like this one here.
Right.
You know, certain strains will help with nausea and, you know,
Right.
all this kind of stuff.
And actually that's a really cool sell, because that's Jeff, myself, Piper, and then we implemented another character named Dagwood, who is the one that says my anxiety there. And that character is actually based on Darren Miller. I'm not sure if anybody here other than Jeff and I are familiar with Darren Miller.
Yeah.
But if you Google Darren Miller, you'll see that he used RSO to basically beat, was it stage 4
lung cancer,
Wow.
and other
helped curb his MS. And I mean, literally, he was on death's bed. They told his wife to pick out his casket, and she threw him in the car and took him to Colorado to meet Rick Simpson, and then over to California to Tyson Ranch. And long story short, here he is 5 or 6 years later telling his story. We became really good friends with him, of course, educational, because we wanted to learn more about RSO, and that's where I was going. So as you progress through the storyline of the novel and the comics, we go and tell you certain things like that, but we implement certain styles of characters within this that actually distribute RSO. So it's a fun way. Yeah, it was a fun way.
Yeah, we don't want to give too much away with that one, but yeah.
No, you know, you got to kind of read the novel and you got to read the comics, because it's in both. The novel is a lot more descriptive than the comics, of course. We all know that it's a fucking novel, you know. So, Jeffrey,
Hey.
I feel like I'm hogging the limelight tonight.
No, you're good, you know. But yeah, so you know, what we did was, you know, we kind of did it ass backwards, because most I think would have completed the novel and released the novel, and then maybe did the comic books afterwards. We didn't do that because it was a good way to keep the ball rolling, for one, and it was fun and exciting. You know, we get a chance to work with a whole bunch of Dynamite people. So as the book got written, we would pull the comic out and produce the comic book.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And it's an ongoing story. There is no end to it. You know, even the novel, that's just part 1. You know what I mean? It's the typical, you know, leave you on a cliffhanger.
Literally.
Literally. I love you guys for all the education in this. Very young in my life, I was told that I wasn't going to live, and stumbled upon some people that knew a lot about, you know, marijuana THC education, and changed my life. And I started 23 years ago. Well, 30 years ago is when I started smoking, but about 23 years ago, I think it was when I started getting into the political side of it and pushing for a lot of things, getting out there, meeting people, getting education. And then again, when COVID happened, I was one of the super unlucky people right in the beginning where no one knew what was going on. coming home from getting married on Leap Day in Colorado, and got it on my way home and ended up in the hospital in a broom closet with machines in a bed because there was no room. And then telling me, okay, you are dying. Do you want to do it at home or do you want to do it in the hospital? So I had to, make the phone call, talk to my wife, like, hey, I've got it. They're telling me I'm dying. Do you want me to just die here? I don't want to necessarily die alone, but I will if that's what keeps you guys safe. So she wanted me to come home. We did a whole room with plastic, separation. And one day I lost consciousness and that was it. And then they said it was almost, my vital signs were still there. So they just kind of waited. And like 48 hours later, roughly, I opened my eyes and then slowly but surely got the fight back again. But there was permanent damage to my heart, my lungs, and my brain. And I started getting back in contact again with a lot of the people in the medical sciences for THC, talking about what can we do with this? What can we do with that? What can we do there? And between some experimentation on my end and on their end, we were able to develop something that actually helps people that suffer now from long-term COVID syndromes. It's got enough CBD in there to help with the anti-inflammatory aspect of the lungs.
Right. Yep.
So it's just very high on the limonene. Got to go high on the limonene for that one. But it also helps with the anxiety at the same time. But it's for people that are having trouble breathing still. And because I didn't want to do it with the RSO oil, I wanted to do it something that I knew I can make at home like a lot easier because I was poor.
Right.
So I had to get an air fryer and mason jars, and I did everything with science, calculators, mason jars, and air fryers.
Right. Yeah, we decided to go this route and this approach in the with the comic and the slap, the slap happy slapstick kind of shit. Because people like yourself, people that know about it already.
Right.
We were targeting that audience,
Entertainment.
trying to get into the entertainment side of it to help break the stigma for those that don't believe in it.
Or didn't have the outlets.
Didn't have the outlets and this, that, and the other. And what we found was that, people that were heavily involved in it just love the idea anyway. You know what I mean?
Brilliant.
Because people aren't going to go, your average Joe's not going to go to a cannabis seminar to learn about something like that. They need to be sparked somehow. But they will sit down and read a comic book if it's just fun.
Yep.
Right.
And that opens the door for a lot of other possibilities.
Yeah.
And
we actually found that to be true when we first released the first comic. I think we were at our third or fourth show. And as I mentioned before, Diamond Production Studios, Bill Diamond, worked for Jim Henson. Now, Jim Henson was a huge pothead, but Bill himself he's never smoked weed in his life. I think he's only been high once, and that was because me and Jeff fishbowled the studio. But that wasn't on purpose. Yes, it was. Anyway, so he got a hold of one of the comics. This is how we met him, but long story short, he got a hold of one of the comics after some other stuff went on and pulled us aside at the end of the convention for a meeting. And he said, the entertainment value here is just insane. Let's do something. And that's coming from somebody that was against cannabis, never touched it, didn't want anything to do with it. And once we saw that happen, we can open, this guy is a 3-time Emmy Award winner. You know what I mean? And this comic that we just released sparked something in his eyes to change his mind. And it was like, okay, well, we just got to keep going with this because how many minds can we change?
Right.
And
during that time, I did a whole bunch of research, looking to see what else was out there, because you don't want to duplicate what somebody else is doing, even if it's by accident.
Right.
That's not me,
No,
So
that other show did that.
I did a whole ton of research, and I found 12, maybe 15 cannabis-based comics in the world. That's all that existed.
Wow.
But they were all, Bud Man and, Leaf Guy, and, they were all trying to be superheroes.
Right.
It wasn't your everyday Joe just being in a comic book. You know what I mean?
Right.
And at the time,
really iconic for the big things.
Yeah, we put ourselves in as the main characters. I don't know why.
Because we didn't think it was going to do anything.
What
Literally.
I mean? It was just,
you know, they say the easiest way to write is to write about experience, you know, and that goes for any type of writing, whether it's poetry or novels, or unless you got a really fucked up mind like Stephen King, you can just write about all kinds of fucked up shit. Even your songwriters are the same way. So by putting ourselves as the main characters, we were able to tap into that 30 plus year friendship of slapstick humor, the one-liners, the takeoffs, you know, in the whole. You got to read the novel, folks. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, it was fun. Oh, it still is, you know.
And the other thing that we learned too was that, unlike most people that are in, you know, the comic book world, or even in the cannabis world, we have an opportunity to get into all of it.
Right.
Because we do comic book conventions, we do cannabis conventions, we do music events, we do horror cons, because we fit everywhere.
Right.
And that in itself is very unique, and it's helping us spread what we're trying to do even faster, because we're not limited to one avenue.
You two are some of the busiest con people that I know of.
Yeah,
like,
same.
During con season, it's just like, nope, you aren't going to see them. They are somewhere, you know, or on the road to somewhere.
Right.
We did have a question.
Sure.
We appreciate the education and now wonder what your favorite recipe is. This was back when we were talking about cooking before.
Well, I'm not a big, I'm going to be honest, I'm not a big edibles person, because it really does fuck me up. I can do like 5 milligrams when it comes to edibles. But if I had to pick a recipe that I thought was really good, I would have to say Jeff made these cookies one time. We were on the road at a convention in Betty, Vermont. And we call it in the crispy hotel. They call it the crispy hotel because literally when you walked on the carpets, they crunched. It was pretty fucking scary. But anyways, it was after the first day of the show. Jeff hands me this, you know, little cookie, and I'm like, really, dude? Like that? Eat it, and I'm like, I'm going to bed. It was like, you know, 8:30, 8:45, and literally, 20 minutes later, I sat up in like total fucking schoolgirl hysterics, laughing my ass off. And he just looked at me. He goes, I go, it's the fucking cookie. And we spent the next 3.5 hours on the bench outside just laughing at the stupidest shit. So,
and he's never eaten one of my cookies again.
No.
I am an edible guy. You know, I prefer edibles. I prefer tinctures. You know, that kind of stuff. You know, I do drink. You know, so on a Friday night or a Saturday night, it wouldn't be unusual for me to make a tincture teeny.
Very nice.
Okay. Yeah, because I've made my own Green Dragon tincture.
Yep.
Okay, which you can't just put that under your tongue because it'll burn a hole and come out the bottom of your chin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We just did one recently to make, you know, infused apple pie moonshine. We started with making the tincture and then kind of going from there. And I got to say, man, it turned out very nicely. And afterwards, I did not get a hangover. Like I really thought that I was going to be leaning towards, which was very nice, because I'm not much of a drinker myself, really. Like maybe a couple times a year, I'll socially drink with somebody, but I think that's all I'm going to drink going forward. If it's not tincture based, I'm not going to drink anymore.
I'm going to sound like an idiot because I'm going on 50, and in my defense, I live in Nebraska. We've never had it legal here. And so I never thought about drinking it, I guess. I've heard of edibles, but I've never heard somebody say that they've made like a martini with it before. So that's...
Dude, this is how I survive haunt season. I literally make a tasteless one, and I put in my Mountain Dew and like the giant big gulp cups. And I walk into the haunt, and I give everybody their instructions. I run around through the maze, trying to make sure everything's going okay. And I'm just drinking that Mountain Dew and just staying, you know, on a certain level so I can survive the night.
Yeah, you got to be careful with it. I mean, obviously, alcohol and THC in combination, I don't recommend
Yeah.
it unless you know what the fuck you're doing,
Yeah.
Okay.
seriously. But like I said, I'm an edible guy, 50 to 75 milligrams is what I like. You know what I
One for
mean?
you, one for the sugar, one for you, one for the sugar.
Right,
Yep.
right. Yep,
Pretty much.
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And I do make my own. I make my own butter at home, and I use it in cooking, and I do make my brownies and my cookies, and stuff like that. I just had a conversation with somebody yesterday who's going to be making me some CBD olive oil.
Very
Okay,
nice.
and that's specific for my mother-in-law who now lives with us, so that's going to be interesting because we got to calm her the fuck down.
Right.
My wife got into compassionate care, like with like edibles and like doing things for people, and she's also a little bit of a chef. She does like a whole 5-course meal now, right down to the vinaigrette on your salad. Like she does so many different processes, and we used to just make butter all the time, and she was like, "We're done with butter." I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "Because one, there's people have weird allergies. There's all kinds of things you can't do with butter, but anything you can do with butter, I can do with non-tropical scented coconut oil."
Mhm.
And once we switched over to that, the amount of stuff that she was able to make and to help people with, and then she'll find different oils and different ingredients for people that have allergies to that now. And she's on top of it. Like she knows more than I know about the cooking with it, like side of all that. Like I do the science, she does the cooking, and it works out.
Right. Did you ever have warm buttered rum?
Oh, I have. And
Use
oh
canned
my
butter.
God.
Use
Yes.
canned butter.
So that's the only time I'll still use the butter, because when we did the tincture to the for the moonshine, I also wanted to like use some of the butter we had left over as well, and I noticed that creamy butter, and especially with the foam that sits in the top of the jar. And as long as you keep it warm and not refrigerated, that just goes down, man.
That used to be one of my favorite things for one of my exes. Whenever he'd get really a bad cold, I'd make him a nice hot buttered rum, and that'd help him out quite a bit.
Throw some THC butter in there. Put him to sleep.
Yep.
Nah, just give me the flour. Just give me the sativa flour. Let me get a couple bursts of energy, and then I'll crash right after that.
Yeah. My problem is my lungs today just can't handle today's weed.
I'm picky. I'm definitely a weed snob, man. Like I still prefer to smoke more than the edibles. Like I still smoke a lot more than anything. But like if I'm gonna cough, it better be the best weed that I can get in that moment to make it worth my time.
Right.
Honestly,
I'm the
for
same
some
way.
reason, half the freaking weed makes me sneeze. I have sneezing fits, and I don't know why. I can't figure it out.
Huh.
Hypothetically, if I were to get anything here in Nebraska, since we don't have like dispensaries, the strain I tend to get is my downstairs neighbors. Like it's the basement neighbor, but that's pretty much all I can get here in Nebraska. But
right.
So I wanted to ask you guys though, now that we've kind of covered that, what were the different challenges, and how, as far as like, what parts did you have to put in or take out doing the book, the comic, and the show? And then I see you have the animated series coming up as well.
Yes, that is in progress. It's we're always trying to do something new. The next set of comics is being written. That's been started.
Yes.
We've had to, it's slowed us down a little bit because we have so much going on.
Right.
You know what I mean? But we always want to keep reaching out those different avenues, those different things. I mean, we have our own line of THC gummies. We have THC kettle popcorn.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's made for us. We have our own glass zombie fingers.
We have a 1-to-1 ratio Mio style water additive coming out.
Yep, that'll be coming out.
Nice.
We have our own hot sauce.
Non-infused.
Non-infused as of yet.
Right.
But we're working on that as well. Because the more different things that you can do, the better off we think we're going to be, because we can just keep reaching more people and reaching more people.
Right. I mean, in all honesty, I guess the biggest thing is that there was really nothing that was super, super hard in transitioning from, novel to book, because it was, okay, we've got to tell the story with pictures versus words. So let's just take this line, and this is the storyboard, and Jeff and I would collaborate on the storyboards. So when it did go to artists, they would say, "Oh, well, I was thinking I want to do this," and we go, "No, the storyboard has to follow the storyboard for a specific reason, because 3 pages later, that's there." You see what I mean? As far as the live action went, and everything kind of played off of everything. So if you're a comic book person, you're going to get the story by reading the comic. If you're a novel type person, you'll understand the story through the novel. The live TV series was just expanding on both of those as a live TV series. Well, the animation is just totally fucking what it is, man. It's animation. We can do whatever the hell we want to do.
Right.
So
the animation, it does not follow.
It doesn't
the
follow. Yeah. It has the educational.
It's a separate entity.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it has its educational properties in there, but it's an animation. So, episode 1 can be like this, but episode 2 is something totally fucking obscure and different, as long as it's still the animation. You see what I mean?
Right.
Well,
Each 20-minute, each 20-minute animated feature, I'll call it, is going to be its own little story
Okay.
with a
Looking
beginning
forward to that.
and an end. You know
Right.
what I mean? Similar to the old Scooby-Doo cartoons and
Right.
stuff like that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's what we were going for.
I love that.
I really enjoyed, and it's gonna this is gonna sound kind of like a backhanded compliment, but it's not. But the way that you did like the blood splatters and stuff in the live show, how it was kind of just like a kind of a cartoony blood splatter comes up on the screen when, and Piper's just crazy. I love her. But just like, oh, this was easier. Yes, I'm judging. It was really cool because it's like, okay, you can invest a shit ton of money into like getting some blood spray that's not going to look too great, or you can put this up and it looks really cool. It's consistent and it's easy to do,
Right.
It makes it more fun.
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
live TV series, we wanted to go, and at the time we were doing it, like, I think Deadpool had only been out a little while, so we went from that live action to almost a comic booky feel, and it was really cool the way that they did it. And I was like, I fucking love this, and I think this works for what we're doing. Just like if you've seen it, we didn't go with full prosthetic style zombies. We went old school Romero airbrush look, to try to bring back some of that nostalgia from what we enjoyed. So, that was a lot of fun.
It was very painful.
Torn ligaments in my knee, Jeff's double concussion.
I got 2 concussions.
gosh.
Yeah.
I just
Well,
recovered from a concussion. Those aren't fun.
There's no there was no budget for stunt people. There was no, there's none of that. You know what I mean?
No.
Even the makeup artist. I mean, she volunteered her time to come down and do that.
Yeah, and she did an amazing fucking job. I mean, she was on point with everything. Her continuity was fucking amazing. But not only was she doing makeup, she was actually doing makeup. She was writing down scenes. She was writing down continuity. She was doing slate.
Yeah, everybody was multitasking because we had to. I mean, it was
right.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work. I mean, when you're running from 8, 9 a.m. and sometimes until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
That takes an awful lot. And I'll tell you what, bunny slippers are not fucking comfortable to run around in.
I love the bunny slipper. How many pairs of those did you go through?
3.
3.
I have 3 or 4. I have one down in my basement that I actually want to make a glass case for. They're stiff.
You're gonna get them bronzed, or you don't have
Oh,
to.
they're
right?
already naturally stiff because those are
Yeah,
the ones
yeah.
that went in the Hudson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are.
Those went in the Hudson.
I think we are the only independent producers, actors that can actually say we threw our fucking attorney in the Hudson River.
That is so awesome.
Literally.
Now you said
And she
something
went
that
willingly.
yeah, that's awesome. You guys said something too that I wanted Dell to hear again, because you guys said that you had decided that you needed to do as much as possible in every direction you could as things were building up. And man, I keep getting in trouble for that. I keep trying to do that, and I keep getting in trouble. But my ideas tend to get a little crazy, because now we're filming a movie this year,
Raz
and
is
now
not
we
allowed.
have trading cards. And I get high on the shows, and I'm like, we're doing this now. And I've also committed us to breaking the world record for the largest box fort, which I'm then going to turn into a haunted attraction for charity for 2 nights. So I keep making things really far. And she's
I'm going
like,
to
no,
give
you
you a
have to
word
stop.
of I'm going to give you a word of advice that me and Ben always try and follow. Don't ever verbally tell anybody what you're planning on doing. Do it first and then tell them.
Yeah.
Particularly live
go.
on air when your co-hosts don't know that you're doing it.
Oh,
Well,
But to be
there's
fair, though-
multiple reasons to that. And, if you have a really good idea and you go, this is what I'm doing, a week
Somebody's
later,
going to grab it.
somebody already is doing it. And you didn't have the opportunity to get the ball rolling. You see what I
did
mean?
think about that, because other than talking about we're filming a movie and what it's kind of about, like all the secrets are like hidden. The box fort, if someone beats the record between now and when we go and do it, well, then we just have a new record to beat. That's kind of how I was looking at it. But I do see your point on that. Like the big stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So when you're ready
Even
to
under-
film the movie, all we need is airfare to Colorado. We'll come out and be in the movie.
Oh, I'm in Ohio, man.
Oh, fuck. That's even easier.
I know. I'm way closer to you. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. I'm
Shit.
definitely gonna
I'll take the train to Ohio.
Oh, it's good. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, no, he went to Colorado and then came back through and visited me in Nebraska on his way back.
On the way back, yeah.
Oh, nice.
He also, this is my big bragging about my brother moment here. When I got stuck in Detroit on the way to Terrificon last year, man and his wife drive from Dayton, Ohio, picked me up in Detroit and drove me all the way to Norwich.
Wow.
It was a fun drive.
Overnight. Yeah. Because
we didn't stop her. We just drove straight through to her.
Wow.
We stopped on the way back though, because we literally dropped her off at the hotel and just got right back in the car and just started to drive back. And we got towards the end of Connecticut. My wife's like, you know what? I think I'm done driving and we need to chill a little bit. So we stayed one night, but then the timing worked out though, because we got to go through Pennsylvania at just the right time for me to go see the old site of Silent Hill's based on. So we got to drive, with Centralia. Thank you. So we got to go to Centralia like early in the morning when there was no one there and the fog was really heavy, and it was amazing. And then we came home.
I mean,
a lot of things happen by accident too.
They do.
Even some of the stuff that me and Ben are doing. The live show, that was a fucking accident.
Well, it was, but it wasn't.
It was,
but it wasn't. It was, but it wasn't. The live show, because as you mentioned earlier, we do a shit ton of conventions. And by doing these conventions, we become really good friends with a lot of A-list people, I guess you would call them. And one of the people that we had become really good friends with was a gentleman named Philo Barnhart from Disney. Created The Little Mermaid, worked on the original Star Trek, worked for Hanna-Barbera. He was the little boy. Yeah, he was the little boy in Mary Poppins Flying the Kite with his real father, who was also a Disney legend, and so wasn't his mom. Long story short, I had been talking to Philo at a convention, and he was a little upset that he had done a bunch of interviews over the course of the year that never got released.
What?
For the 30th anniversary of The Little Mermaid and the 40th anniversary of Star Trek. So I went to Leo, and if the folks watching, everybody knows who Leo is. And if you don't, well, fucking shame on you, and you should learn. Anyway, I went to Leo and I said, listen, I want to do a live broadcast show and highlight Philo's amazing accomplishments. I mean, the guy is he's an amazing person that did amazing things. And I brought it to Jeff, and the first thing out of his mouth was, no fucking way. I am not doing a live show. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm doing it. And then I explained to him why I wanted to do it. I kind of pulled the heartstring. I kind of played that devil's advocate douchebag and kind of not really forced him, but played on his emotion, which worked. You know, because here we are 5 years later, 190 plus episodes, running once a week live on 27 platforms worldwide, hitting 97,000 interaction and reaching over 1.6 million people. That's just fucking insane. It's insane. Never in a million years did we think we'd be in that position.
Yeah, the only reason, by the way, that after the Philo show, the only reason I even agreed to continue to do it was because I was going to be an asshole.
Mhm.
And my job was just going to be to try and piss off the guest. That's how I approached this whole thing.
I love that.
You know, it kind of backfired.
A little bit.
You know what I mean? But, you know, I mean, there's highlights, you know what I mean? You know, having somebody like Dee Wallace, you know, tell me to fuck off. I'll never forget that. You know what I mean?
Live,
you know, and that, you know, and it's that kind of stuff that, you know, after that first year, I'm like, well, okay. I still try and be a dick. And so, you know, I'm sure you guys have seen the show, some of the shit that I come out with. You know what I mean? But that's just how I play my character on the live show.
right?
It's not, I'm just being me, but you know,
Right.
it's,
you know,
I enjoy it 90% of the time.
right. You know,
90%
I mean,
of the time.
it's been a blessing as far as the live show goes, because every year it just gets bigger. The guests get more, you know, into the show. And some of the big names, like they're reaching out to us now. You know, hey, we want to be on your show. And it's like, well, I asked you 2 years ago and you wanted me to pay you $500 to come on the show. Now you're going to come on for free? Yeah, well, I'm booking 6 months out. Sorry.
That's nice. I mean, you guys have had Tommy Chong's been on, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have
And
Tommy Chong.
I didn't get to see that one live, but I've seen I have the opposite sleeping schedule of you.
Right.
I wake up at like 5 or 6 p.m. So I'm like,
Hence why
if
we
I
had to
catch
start
it-
at fucking 9 tonight.
Right. You know,
consistency, man. That's what
you
we're
know,
trying
no,
to
we've had some fantastic people on.
Oh,
Eric
yeah.
Roberts, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, to be able to just have a discussion with a guy like Eric Roberts, who, I mean, I think he's over 800 acting credits at this point.
Oh yeah, it's insane.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? He's in everything.
Right. But not
He's
just
literally
like,
in everything.
you know, like Jeff said, you know, Dee Wallace and Eric Roberts, Tommy Chong,
James Duvall, you know,
James Duvall. But you know, Russ Faria. I couldn't pronounce the name for a second. You know, now that's a gentleman who, if you look him up, his story was made into a 4-part miniseries on
it was
CBS.
4 of a 5-part. It was
called The Thing About Pam.
Yeah.
Where he went out, he actually served 2.5 years in federal prison for murder. To find out that he actually didn't do the murder, and it was the murder of his wife. He had gone out, played cards with some friends, came home, and she had been stabbed like 50 something fucking times. And of course, he was arrested, convicted, and railroaded into prison. We had him on the show. So you never know what the hell's coming on the show. Big Baker. I got to talk to him soon because he's got some fucking kick-ass butt, I guess, on the Real Cheap coming out. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, Dave, the Baked Baker. I almost said his real name. Hey, by the way, this is up. No, I'm just kidding.
You know, those cool stories like that, you know,
right.
Most people won't have an interview like that.
Right.
I mean, you know, but he was on network. I mean, he was interviewed on like ABC, you know what I mean? Just because of the story, you know?
Yeah, I need quite a few onions. You know, you got to peel back the layers.
Yes.
but I mean, I think over the years, the inspirational stories are the ones that I really enjoy. I love interviewing the A-list actors because we just get to chat with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or even the A-list musicians like Gina Shock, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame drummer for the Go-Go's.
Yeah.
Vinny Appice. I mean, so those are amazing, amazing interviews. But I think some of my favorite were like Michael Crossland. He came to us from Australia. He's the most sought after inspirational speaker in the world. And what a fucking story this guy had. I mean, things like that. Peter Dankelson, a kid that had like 20 something surgeries.
Yeah.
But he can pick up a guitar and just go off on riffs, like listen to a song and just whoop, and he's playing it. I mean, unfucking believable. So yeah, I mean, you never know what you're gonna see.
The Saltwater Cowboy, we had that guy on.
Yeah, he was cool. Tim McBride.
He was yep.
Yeah.
What a trip.
Running fucking marijuana through the Everglades of Florida for years.
Right. Yep.
Years, Explain to us why the Gulf of Mexico smells like cow shit.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Well, they
you
would
that?
dump the cows. Yeah.
Well, because to get the weed off the boat, they had to get all the cows off the boat first, so they just threw them all in the Gulf of Mexico and watched them fucking drown.
They
Literally.
needed more room for the bales. Yeah.
Yep, literally. So,
Sad, but
I mean,
true.
yeah,
it's crazy.
but all of it started because of that stupid fucking idea on the beach to combine the two things. And it just opened a lot of doors over the years for us.
Oh, yeah.
And doors just
Yeah.
keep on opening,
Right. Some doors close, and that's okay.
I
Is what it is.
honestly think that is the best squirrel come around that has ever been pulled on this show before.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you're looking at are some true professionals who have completely taken the art of the segue to another level, to where we start the show, do a whole thing, and then bring it right back to where we started. It was beautiful to watch, gentlemen. It truly was.
I need a tissue.
That's called that's why podcasting is an art. A moment just like that was the ultimate segue. I don't think it can be done better. I really don't.
Right.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that Jeff and I have stuck to over the past 5 years is have fun. No matter what we're doing, whether it's comic books on 6,000 miles in 1 month for conventions, just keep it fun, and I don't know, it seems to fucking work. I don't know why they fucking like us, but they do.
Yeah, and everybody out there, if you think it's easy, it's not. Ben and I have known each other for an awful long time, but it doesn't mean that we don't butt heads. It doesn't mean that we don't disagree on things.
All
You know what I mean?
time.
But you got to let we let each other do what they need to do. You know what I mean? If space is required and a time lapse is necessary, then do that.
Right. But continue
what I
to
mean?
move forward.
But continue to move forward. You know what I mean?
Right.
The only thing that pisses him off is when I hang up on him. So I don't do that anymore. I say bye first and then hang up on him.
Right. And the same goes for me. If I hang up on him, he'll call me back. Or he'll fucking drive to my house and beat on my door. You fucking hung up on me. No, dude, actually, it was Verizon. Lost call.
I'm going through a tunnel.
So you got to learn from the frustrations. That's one.
And you got the biggest thing is you got to be able to talk it through, even if it's 2 or 3 days later. You have to be able to sit down and talk it through, so that there's no hard feelings anywhere. Nobody's butt hurt, and you make it work. It's like a fucking marriage.
I was about to say that's some relationship advice too, right there.
Well, no, it really is. Jeff will call me and my wife will go, "Is that your work husband or your work wife, depending on the day?" And I'm like, "Yep." You know, it's a joke, but it is. You know, you've got to. But that's a friendship of 30. What are we going? 30,
37, 38.
37, 38 years.
Yeah.
You know, it's
you
like,
know, and you can't have a relationship for that long without having disagreements,
right,
butting heads. You know, I don't think we should do this. You know what I mean? No, I don't want to do this. Oh, but
right,
we have to. You know what I mean?
right. No, we
you
are
know,
going to do this, and this is why we should do it. Yep. No,
right.
you're right. You really, dude, you're going to make me stay up on a Sunday night till fucking 9:00 to do an interview. Dude, like, really, we should do the interview. They're good people. It's a good show. They're on the network. You know, fuck, you're right. Okay. You know, oh, sorry. went off on a little tangent there. But yeah, I mean, it just,
kitty.
I had a squirrel moment. My bad.
You're
That's
good,
all
man. I do believe we have something to give away.
Yeah, we're gonna do a giveaway here, and
Yep, they're giving you away.
Since half of
Yay!
since a lot of the people who've been commenting have been part of our network, and we don't let them win anything because I don't buy things for them. I've been making a second wheel actually that just includes the people that aren't members of our network. But before we do that, anybody who wants a chance to get in on the deal, type a comment, and if you show up as Facebook user, put your name so that we know who you are, because we aren't going to give anything to Facebook user. If you don't know how to get in, it's kind of late to do it now. While we get ready to do that, I'm going to pull a Leo here. So, what do you, Jeff, enjoy dorking out on?
Porn.
I like. No.
Oh, not today.
No. Yesterday. I'm good for a couple of days.
Okay.
I like the woods. Okay.
Yeah.
I like to be. I like the solitude of the woods. That may not sound dorky to a lot of people, but I like to. I will go to my camp by myself for a week. No radio.
And watch porn.
No radio. No television. Okay, just peace and quiet. I'll split wood. I'll sit by the campfire. I'll write. Okay, that's the answer I'm going to give you, because as far as, you know, I collect Black Panthers too, if that's a dork out thing, which maybe it is. I have hundreds of Black Panther pictures, statues, and everything. I even have little shoes and slippers.
Aww.
You had me at woods, man. I'm a big woods guy myself. I love being out there, and the less people had to bother me when I'm out there, the better.
I grew up on a somewhat wooded acreage, so yeah, I was out of the house, down in the trees, over to the river, all over the place when I was growing up. So,
like I said, you know, my summer place, there's no power, there's no electricity, there's no running water. You got to bathe in the lake. You know,
nice.
And I've been going there since 1968.
Wow,
that's amazing.
Nice.
So, you know, that's my dork out spot.
That's kind of comical.
Why?
I never see. I'm not my wife is like this. She's got this thing with numbers. You know what I mean? So you've been going there since 1968.
Mm-hmm.
My first trip to your camp was in 1986. 8-6.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Hey.
See, now he knows. Now he knows where it is.
Fuck you.
Well,
listen, if it wasn't for the camp and the solitude of it, the novel might never have gotten started.
True that.
Because I'm one of those types of writers that I need not really inspiration to write, but when I start, I have to have that solitude.
Yep.
It just as I start. I mean, once I start, it's something happens in my head, and it's almost like floodgates fucking open, and I can't write fast enough to keep up with my mind. So I have to write and then go back and rewrite because I'm just, oh, that's great. You know, and then he comes along and throws fucking ideas at me, and I'm like, oh, fuck, that fits back here. You know? But as far as dorking out, I don't really know. I mean, collecting my guest badges is kind of a dorky thing.
Yeah, that's dorky.
But like my true dork out really is my family. You know, when I'm on the road, Jeff will tell you, when I'm on the road, I'll walk around the convention with my granddaughter or my daughter on FaceTime. And I'm talking to them. I go, oh, hey, look, say hi to so-and-so. And I'll walk away. And they're like,
That's awesome.
what the fuck? I'm like, well, no, I mean, it's just, that's my thing. You know, I'm all about family.
Very nice.
My woodworking is therapy to me because I do everything by hand. I use no CNC machines, no laser cutters.
Right.
You know,
right.
so, you know, to me, you know, making a box that has 38 pieces of inlay to create a picture on the top that's all handmade takes days, and it's therapy.
I have some work for you coming up, maybe.
Okay.
I have a shrine I need built, so might send something your way. Okay, I think we gave people some time here. I am going to hopefully get this.
I'm playing the epic wheel, right?
No, I changed my mind.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Backstage before the show, she said, play the epic wheel. And he's like, okay, I'll cue that up. Oh,
We're
now she
using
changed her
different-
fucking mind.
Yes, because I'm a girl. I'm allowed to. We changed the wheels, so it changes what we do. So now you do, yes, the tubular bells. All right, everybody
Let me know
ready?
when.
All right, go now. Yay! And Baked Baker, you have won.
If he's still watching, probably fucking passed out. Joint in his
Well,
mouth.
I will get in touch with you after the show and set up, and I will get you a copy of that book so that you can read the book if you haven't read it already. If you have read it already, you can forward it to somebody who you think should read it, because
Pass it around.
you guys seem to know him, so there's a chance there. You know, I mean,
He might have the book. I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't remember. I know he's got the
You know?
comics.
Now, if you do have it, just remember it, and you're going to pass it on to someone. Always pass to the left.
That's right.
all right.
Don't fuck up the circle.
No, that's
Right.
death.
All right, well, let's wrap things up, folks, and thank you guys for staying here for so long and staying up so late for us, because
Oh,
Oh,
no
no
worries.
worries.
we're a middle of the night type network.
For the night owls.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, you're also in Nebraska, so it's what, 2 hours earlier?
It's only an hour earlier.
An hour earlier? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so it's
at my
only
age,
9
an hour
o'clock.
makes a difference.
I get confused all the time because you guys have one time, Splash Pages has another time, we have another time, and so when I'm trying to keep track of shows, I'm always like, I'm inviting guests, and I'm just like, yeah, it's at some time, and I'll be like, oh shit. Actually, there's an hour's difference on that.
Oh, wait. I mean, like I was saying earlier, like Michael Crossland came to us from Australia. So it was like, what, 9 o'clock in the morning their time, 7 o'clock here at night.
Mhm.
But we've had people in the UK that were guests that literally they're like, it's fucking 1 a.m. And I'm like, you stayed up to come on the show? Oh, fuck. I feel privileged.
Yeah.
You know?
We set up an interview with Bernie Rao last week or 2 weeks ago,
Let's go, yeah.
and he was listed as being in Perth. So I was like, okay, we'll do it at this time. You know, if we do it this time, then it's like 9 a.m. his time, so it's an okay, time to be awake. And he just moved to Germany, and we
Oh.
didn't know. So, and then he
Yeah.
wanted to have a guest on that was in New Zealand. And we're like, okay, so we have like Eastern and Central time here, and then Germany, which is like 1 hour off of.
Yeah,
Red
they're 6 hours ahead of us. Well,
Yeah.
6 hours ahead of Eastern.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then, so it's 7 hours ahead of me. And then he wanted somebody from New Zealand. And he's like, oh, he's still out at a gig. And so we like did the interview early and then
Yeah.
replayed it later because it was just like, Okay, I'm so sorry. I thought I was booking you for, morning time, your time. Yeah, I forgot
Oh
to
yeah.
mention that I'm a
And the only reason I know that is because literally 2 days ago I was contacted by a rather large music promoter out of California, but they're also out of Germany. And she just happens to be in Germany right now. And she's like,
Gotcha.
"Oh, when can I get you on the phone?" I'm like, "I'm available at this time. You're only in California." She's like, "Well, no, actually, I'm in Germany right now." I'm like, "Well, fuck, pick a day then. Pick a time. Whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, we'll figure it out." So that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The fun world of podcasting. Beyond StreamYard, there's also guests. Shit. But which you guys have been awesome at.
Yeah.
So gonna go through and wrap things up real quick. You guys know where to find me. I'm not Leo exactly, but I'm sometimes him. If you look up Carrie with a Kari Sanders on Facebook, all of my links are there. And you can find me here on Owlite. You can also find me on splash pages over at The Dorkening, which the Owlite is also a part of. So do that. And we have this great gal Friday, who is our gal Friday, and she actually handles 90% of my social media. But if you try to contact me, she'll pretend that she's me. Raz?
Yeah, you can find me at raztslasher.com. Also, all the social medias that Jenny will actually be the one answering you to. You can also find me smoking pot at your mom's house. So say hi tomorrow morning.
Well, fuck, dude, you're gonna have to dig 6 feet for that one.
Right. Yeah, stilltoken.com. Just go to stilltoken.com. Or Token with the Dead on Facebook. I'll be hard to find, Jeff. You can search for Jeff. If you Google Jeff, I'm sure you'll find all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
Look at
You know, I keep my just look Jeff. You can put any last name you want to it. You know what I mean?
Jeff.com.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna start going by Ray Liotta though. That's the only element I should just go by. I should just go as Ray Liotta now.
Just
Look at it.
one letter different spelling.
You know.
Hey. And Ben, where would you like us to reach you?
Oh my God. Like Jeff said, stilltoking.com. You can find out everything you want to know about us. I mean, everything there. I mean, an hour show interview. Sorry, but you folks only got the tip. You really, it's just that simple.
Just the tip.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you're in the New England area, grab tickets to the roll up on the 13th. Headlining is Bone Slugs and Harmony.
Nice.
We'll be there as guests and vendors. If not, and you're in the Vermont area, we're gonna be at the Vermont Sci-Fi Fantasy Expo coming up the 27th and 28th of April. But if you go to Toking with the Dead on Facebook, the entire 2024 tour is there. And it's constantly changing. We're adding dates and fuck yeah. That's as Carrie said at the beginning of the show, we're always on the fucking road.
Yeah.
I can't keep up with me.
No. No. Or you can check us out every Wednesday night on the Dorkening Podcast Network and 27 platforms worldwide.
Yeah. Check them out. Follow them on their Facebook. All of their links are up above or down below, depending on where you're watching the show. And thank you guys so much for coming and staying on so late for us because
No
Thank
worries.
you.
Appreciate it.
these things-
Appreciate the invite.
I got my second fucking win now. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Go play with yourself.
Nah, that's not a Sunday thing. That's more of like a Friday.
Oh, you mean you didn't do that earlier?
No,
No. Okay.
I was booking guests.
And on that
And-
note,
I just booked one while we were doing this show.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for joining us. Have